Hey YouTube, Chris Hemming here, and I had the disease of sex and love addiction. Pretty tired, so I will try not to ramble. That tends to happen when I'm tired, but I thought that this video would be important. I wanted to cover a couple things that keeps getting brought up. I feel is very significant and important. One, how do you know that you're a sex addict and not the fact that you just like sex or the act of acting out or multiple partners or whatever they may look like to you, or that you just really like pornography or chatting with other people. How do you even know that you may be in a relationship? How do you know that you just don't like sex and that you probably should just be single, or the fact that you're a real addict? And the other thing is, for somebody that's new to recovery and that's in a relationship, the married or boyfriend, girlfriend, or partnered up, or however you want to phrase that, and that other individual finds out and they confront you on it and they demand that they know everything at that point. I was wanting to address those two things. So the first one is, how do you know? Well, for me, what was important is that, first of all, I tell newcomers all the time, just because I like sex doesn't make me an addict. Just because I may have had multiple partners outside of my marriage doesn't make me an addict. Just because when I was single, I'd get into one relationship, end it, get another, so I was like a serial dater, doesn't make me the addict. What makes me the addict is that I would do these things, they would destroy my life, and then I would do them anyway. That's what makes me the addict. What makes me the addict is that, take everything out of the equation, I was powerless over acting out, whether it be pornography, chatting with strangers, meeting with strangers, having sex with strangers. I didn't want to be doing these things, but I couldn't stop. I was completely powerless over it. It was destroying my entire life. It was hurting the ones I loved the most, and yet I was doing them anyway. That's what makes me the addict. So for anybody who has a question of whether or not, hey, am I really an addict here, or could I just really like sex, or even how I used to think, maybe I'm just an asshole who shouldn't be married. I remember really early in recovery, that was kind of my mindset. I just like sex, and whoever I'm with has issues satisfying me. So a real selfish way of thinking, but that's how I thought. And then I quickly realized, no, I don't agree with any of my actions, and it's destroying my life, and I can't stop. I think I have a problem. Therefore, I found the rooms of SLAA, and I'm very grateful for it. Now, to the other. This is a little bit more complicated. You're most likely going to have a lot of different opinions on this. I'm not saying anybody's opinion is wrong on this. I'm just going to share with you what has worked for me and what worked for other people that I know that went through this in the past. And I'm even going to post a couple links below, a couple of websites to go visit that also seems to kind of agree with me. And in my experience, when I was caught the first time, back in January 2014, I was caught red-handed through some emails, and of course I chose somebody that I felt was safe, that wasn't going to really question me, was going to kind of try to fix me, and was going to be codependent on me. Those are the people that I chose. So by choosing those type of people, gave me the comfort of no matter what I did, they weren't really going to leave me. And this person caught me. That's the first time. Actually, that wasn't the first time they caught me. That was the biggest time that they caught me. They actually caught me a couple times prior, but I was allowed to lie and manipulate my way out of it. And they just continue to paint the red flags white until this one day, and even being caught red-handed with hundreds of emails that my now ex-wife had read that day. I was able to twist it and manipulate it and get her to, I don't know, I don't want to say forgive me, but she gave me an ultimatum of a week to get help, and that ultimatum was never followed through. It wasn't till several months later that I caught myself doing something that I shouldn't have been doing, that felt completely wrong, and finally I knew that I needed help. And that's when I chose to go get that help. As I was getting that help and as I got in the rooms, that is when my ex-wife decided that she wanted to know everything and that she wanted a full disclosure, and I do not need to be lying to her anymore, and I need to tell her what's going on and what I've done up to that point. And I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. I was new in the rooms. I was living in extremes anyway, of highs and lows, as most addicts do. And of course, I took this and I flipped shit. And I thought, oh, now I'm really going to get it. And I really thought I was going to die if I told her everything. And luckily, I had a really good sponsor at the time and some people that had kind of rallied around me in the rooms. And they pretty much say, hey, she deserves to know the truth. But to the extent of the details, maybe they don't need to know that right now. What I needed to do was I needed to get professional help and allow that professional to dictate and mediate how the disclosure was going to go about. But what I could do at that time is to be as honest as I needed to be to protect myself and the other individual. And what that looked like was if that person wanted to know if I was having physical affairs with somebody else, and if the answer to that question was yes, then I needed to be honest with that. If the question was, have you been watching pornography? And the answer to that was yes, I needed to be honest with that. If the question was, if I've been chatting with other individuals or emailing other individuals, and the correct answer to that was yes, I needed to be honest with that. Where I didn't need to go into was the gruesome details of the acting out itself. What was said in emails, what it was that I watched, and what it was that I did with other people. That type of stuff is just creating more trauma and more hurt for both parties. I've seen it in my experience that the spouse wants to put all blame on the addict, which seems to be correct at the time, but I believe everybody needs to realize that they came together. They sought each other out, that they're in a relationship together, that there's something there that's attracting them. Water seeks its own level. That both sides has a part in this. Now, I'm not saying that the spouse has any part of the other acting out. What I am saying is that they have to look at their own stuff and realize that what was their role in all of this. When this is all new, nobody's looking at that. The addict's like, oh shit, how can I get myself out of trouble? How can I maintain this image and at the same time still get away with my acting out? And the other side's going, holy shit, you asshole, how could you do this to me? Tell me now, I deserve this, stop lying to me, tell me everything. And at the time, on both sides, I believe they both believe that they're right. But here is about 3 reasons why I believe and have experienced it to be a bad idea to get into any type of detail, especially when it's asked right away without professional help and without really sitting down and going through this the proper way. One is that the other party that's receiving the information, they could always turn and use it against you later. Now, they're like, well, duh, okay, but there's a lot of times that person could take very harmful information that you did because as an addict, you're not wanting to do those things. For me, if you're like me at all, when I was doing those things, I wasn't even present for it. It took me 6 months of extensive therapy to even realize half the shit that I did. I had repressed all of it. Okay, so by telling that one person all the gory details, and they're going to take that in, they're going to process that, and somewhere down the line, unintentionally by the way, turn it and use that against the other person. That happened to me. Although I was promised that never would, it did. The other thing is that person feels like if they know all the details, that they'll get some type of closure to that. And in reality, that closes no doors. If anything, it opens up more doors and opens up more wounds. And the third thing is that person takes those details and now is judging themselves when it comes to the other partners or the other acting out or the pornography. They're running all these details through their head and going, well, if I would have done this, then this would be different. If I would have done that, then he would never have done that, or she would never have done that, or whatever. If I would just have been this person, then this would never happen to me. And then it creates all type of jealousy and even more trust issues. And the reality of it is that the acting out that the addict does has something to do with the partner. The sex and the lies and the deceit and the manipulation and whatever it is that they might be doing is not the partner's fault. It actually has nothing to do with them. There's actually a great chance that that person has been doing that for years before them. But they just looked at it as a normal behavior, because when we look at sex in the everyday world, it's very appropriate, and it's very accepting, and people are like, yeah, sex, whatever. But now all of a sudden you're in a relationship and doing those things is taboo and wrong, and yet we continue to do it anyway. So there's a really good chance that it has nothing to do with the partner at all, that this all started long before, and it was all a foundation that was set when they were a child. Now this is just the addict's way of coping anyway. So I'm again tired, so try not to deviate too much on this. But in saying that, I do believe it's really important that disclosure happens, but I believe it's even more important that it happens in the presence of a CSAT or a therapist. That if a partner is demanding of a disclosure at that point, one, they deserve to know the truth, so tell them the truth, but avoid the details. You are really saving yourself as the person giving the disclosure of even more mental and emotional pain later and a possible relapse. And most importantly, you're really saving that partner from any more emotional and mental pain as well. And it will allow them to recover, I believe, quicker. And if it doesn't even work, for, let's say you full disclosure and y'all still get divorced or y'all break up, it will allow that person to recover and not carry that over to the next relationship. Because now they have all these details in their head, and they get in another relationship, they think immediately that person's going to do the same thing. That's not healthy either. So in the couple of links I post in the comments or down below in the description, it's going to send you to a couple websites kind of going into more details about this. And it's also going to talk about that, what does a full disclosure really look like, and how it needs to be mapped out, how it needs to be a process too, because it's a lot of information. And to be very frank, it can be a lot of harmful information. But thanks for coming and listening to me and watching my video. Again, I try to get these out as much as I can. I'm a busy person, but when something strikes, I feel like it's appropriate and important to get it out there. I believe it's part of my service, and I hope this has been some service to you. Again, not everybody's going to agree with me. That's okay. This is just what's worked for me and what has worked for other people that I know in the past. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below. And if you have a question about something I can make a video on, I would love to do that. And please also subscribe and help this channel. Have a great night.